In the last episode, we built a diner, we automated burgers, and finally finished off one corner of the town. Today, my plan is to move across the road and try and get a few more buildings down on this side, and hopefully, if we have time, actually get something inside them. Most likely another restaurant or two, let's be honest. But before I get started on that, I want to sort out this bus route. We've had a bus trapped in that tunnel, although it's not actually rendering in right now, but we've had a bus trapped in that tunnel for about 6 weeks, and now we've actually got a loop and a road it can go around. I think it's about time we sorted that out. One slight flaw with this plan, however, is that I don't think I'm going to have enough phantom rail. I gave most of what I had to Bruno because he needed it to make a new plane route so he can actually connect his main base to the main area, but that's left me with a bit of a deficit. But I should have enough to at least get started. So let's go find where this track leaves off. So it looks like I left a gap in the track around about here, and then we need to continue that all the way up and around town. And I don't think we're going to bother going down this road now because there's nothing down there anymore, which is fine. So, I get someone on my bus. How long have you been here? This bus has been here for like 6 weeks.
I've been here a very, very long time. I've been eating flies, but there's only 2 left. I hear you are an expert farmer these days. Yeah, I'm here to inspect. Got a new job with the farm inspectorate people. Yeah.
Right, okay. So basically, you just want to check on my farms. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah, just to make sure they're all okay, and yeah, make sure the animals are nicely cared for and things like that. Yeah, I'm not spying for any ideas. That's not what I'm here for at all.
Yeah, I completely believe you, Plod. Completely believe you. Well, as you can see, look, my animals are fine. See, they're in a field.
This is beautiful.
They're fine.
Cute little piggo. Yeah, that's great. What's in the barn?
Just some humane animal processing, of course. We have our lovely wool farm, which
And they look happy.
They are. They are. It also looks like it's not currently moving because they don't appear to be shaved. So yeah, they're very happy. They're just chilling. They're not even getting sheared right now. So that's fine. And then round here we've got some cows. The ones at the back occasionally get milked. It's all good.
It's not so bad. Yeah, they look quite happy too.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's all there is in the entire barn, so we can leave.
Awesome. Now. This looks slightly. So have they got enough room in there?
Yes. Well, I mean, not a single one of them has ever given me a word of complaint.
Right.
Same here with the sheep. Like, they're fine. They all seem happy. But you got the little baby sheep that are playing with the hands that pokes out every now and then.
That's a lot of baby sheep.
So there's a new baby sheep.
What happened there?
Oh, nothing. It's fine. Sometimes the sheep have dandruff.
Right, I see. They like playing with that stick, do they?
Yes. As do the baby cows over here, over this side. They also get dandruff occasionally, but they're fine. Right. Anyway, so what we should do is leave. It's very loud in here. You're not an inspector at all, are you? What did you say your job title was again? Let's see if you can say it the same as you did last time.
I'm from the Department of Food, Fisheries, French fries, and furious form filling, something like that.
Right. Okay, that is actually completely different to what you said when you first arrived. You said you were from the farmers something or other. So I think you're just here to steal my ideas, and you're not an inspector at all, are you?
You're going to banish me now.
Didn't think so. I mean, I would banish you back to the bus, but to be honest, you'd just be sitting there for another 6 weeks because I was supposed to be expanding the rail out, building bus routes over here. But Bruno's got most of my rail, and he's also got my phantom farm currently. So, yeah, I'm kind of at a bit of a railless dead end currently, and I've just wasted one as well because I punched it instead of using a pickaxe. Why?
Beardy.
Well, it's always lovely to have visitors, and it was good to see Plod. I think I've sent him off well fed. He's headed over to the airport, so hopefully that plane turns up for him. But anyway, we've got some stuff we need to do, which is to place the rails we do have, and then try and scavenge up some more. And I'm hoping I've got a few phantom membrane back in storage, but I might not. But Bruno's in a completely different time zone. It's first thing in the morning for me, so I've got absolutely no chance of getting my phantom farm back anytime soon. But let's just see what we can actually do. We just need to extend this road all the way down to the bottom here, down this way, round this corner, and all the way down the high street here. And it looks like we're going to be a little bit short. I've only got 25 rail left, which means I can only get to there. So we don't need loads more, maybe only another 100, maybe 200 or so. Let's see if we've got any phantom membrane back in storage. I have 8. Well, I mean, that's going to get me, what, 4 stacks? To be honest, that's probably going to be enough. Just make sure we're taking some iron to actually put on them. So you need iron, you need iron. I think that's about it. Yep, look at that. Perfect. I actually remembered the recipe for once. Look at me go. So I've got 4 more stacks. That should be more than enough. Let's figure this out. So it needs to go on this narrow street next to the diner and then pretty much just loop back round over here all the way to there. And hopefully the bus will set off on its journey. Maybe. Potentially. Oh, he's already gone. I have a feeling the bus may have reversed his way all the way back. I've absolutely no idea where the bus has gone. I thought he was still going to be sitting at his bus stop. Well, it's been a while, but I think it's time to bust out the track map and find out where our bus has gone. Bus 1, where are you? Yeah, safe to say, I think he's going backwards. So the question is, how am I going to solve that? Because every time he comes in here, he's always going to go... Oh, actually, I know. It's easy to solve. What I need to do is stick in another bus stop over here on the high street, and then he'll definitely sort of, well, loop round. We won't have a choice then. So yeah, we'll just stick a temporary one in for now. It doesn't really matter where it goes, and we'll just call that, Allydale, I guess. And then I need to catch the bus. Come here, you. Come here. I mean, at least you're heading in the right direction, but come. Yeah. Oh, no, it's the wrong side. Oh, jeez. I need to get him before he speeds up. Oh. Aha. Gotcha. Right, so now what we can do is put in another thing. So it needs to go after here. After Farmville, you can go to Valleydale. And in theory, that should be enough to get him sorted out. But we'll just have to keep an eye out and make sure that next time he comes down this way, he does actually do the whole loop. However, we now have a signalling problem because that bus is using this road, which is, of course, with a phantom rail on the surface. However, we've also got other trucks that are using this road, but they're underground, which means we need to get clever with some signals. And the way this is going to work is if we, for example, were to put a signal here, we'll just dump it there for now. What we can actually do is take a comparator reading off of this into a redstone link and tell that to activate a signal, say, on the track down below here, which essentially will stop the trucks from moving through if the bus is on this road and vice versa. If I do the same thing down here, put a signal, and if there's a truck inside that area, then have it so that this signal gets automatically turned to red and stops the bus from going forward. I have absolutely no idea if any of that made any sense, but I hope it did. But I think the easiest thing for me to do is just going to be to get all of this set up and working, and then bring you back in and try and explain it when the examples are actually in place. Maybe that'll work. But I think I've got it all worked out, but the only way I'm really going to know for certain is by standing here and watching it for a while and essentially making sure the bus doesn't drive through any of the trucks and vice versa. Which means I need to go right up here in the sky and make sure I can actually see all the trucks. Around about here should do fine. And, well, I guess we just stand here and watch for a while. Well, it's been over an hour and I'm pleased to say there were no incidents, no crashes, and everything seems to be working fine, which is wonderful. And I'm going to very briefly try and explain what I've done here. So these signals are actually linked up top, and essentially they give off a signal or receive a signal based on where vehicles are. And we should be able to see that in action in just a moment, because as soon as the bus goes past this signal that we have here, as you can see, it lights this up and stops any other vehicles from going in the junction. And obviously now it's just exited, which means the bus is probably, yep, there we go. It's just heading off into the distance. So hopefully that made sense, but basically it works. That's all we need to know. It works and I'm happy. Now I just need to fill in a few of these holes that I've made all over the place to get underground. I could probably do with some manholes, to be honest. But now we know all that works and the bus route is up and running, what I can do is start building over here. And I don't really have much of a plan for this area. I think what I'm going to do is just get a whole bunch of buildings down and then work out what we're going to do with them afterwards. I'm just too keen to get this street built up a lot more, I think. And because I don't really have a plan, I guess the best thing to do is just to start placing blocks and see what happens. Confession time, it's been 2 days. And that's all we've got in the real world. Basically, I was struggling to sort of come up with textures and ideas and things like that. So I did something I don't do particularly often, and I went and messed around in creative for a little bit. And I do have a schematic. This one right here, which as you can see is pretty big. It's going to be building lots of things for us. But there is a slight problem. In fact, there's actually a couple of problems. One, it's quite a big little section that I've made a schematic of. I don't usually do this. I don't normally like to bring things in via schematic, and to be honest, I rarely plan things in creative. So yeah, this is going to be a little bit different for us, but I am going to stick down a cannon and we're going to blast this thing into existence. Like I say, it's taken me ages to try and work this out. But the problem with that is we don't have any gunpowder, and we're going to need quite a lot to get this actually built. And not only that, I've also used some blocks that I just don't actually have. The main one being mycelium, which means we need to go find a mushroom island. And I've not found one in this world yet. It could be absolutely miles away for all I know. In fact, I do have a nature's compass. Shall we find out where the closest one is? Right, okay, we've searched a 10,000 block radius from where we're standing, and we haven't found one. This does not bode well. I mean, it's not an essential block, but it's definitely something I want for a little bit on the side here. Which means I need to travel all over the place in different locations and see if we can actually find one. And the oil rig seems like a good place to start because it's very far in the south compared to everything else. And being in an ocean, I'm hoping we're actually going to find one. Let's search again. Nope, still no joy here. Oh dear. So let's try over here in Stone Valley Peaks. We've not been here in a long time. On mushroom fields. Dang it, we've still not found one. Is there another way to get mycelium? No, there is not. No recipes, nothing. So I think that leaves me with only one choice, and that is to go on an ocean adventure and hope for the best. In fact, what might be a better option is going to be to go through the nether. We'll just travel a couple of thousand blocks in the nether, create a portal, and do some more searches. And eventually we will get mycelium. I mean, to be honest, it's not actually a vitally important block for this build, but now I don't have any, I really want to get some. So let's go to the nether. Can't remember the last time we went here. Tell a lie, I can remember. It's when Stam stole all my netherite. Cheeky Stam. Right, let's go. Just travel many, many miles, I guess. Oh my days, what in the world is that? That looks very dangerous. I'm just gonna leave, I think. Hey, look at that. We just got subspace bubble. We've traveled very far, it would seem. Most importantly, are there any mushroom fields? Nope, still nothing. Then I guess we travel further. Aha! I found one. 30,000 blocks from spawn. Oh my days. So I do actually still need to go about another 4,000 blocks in this direction, and a couple of thousand blocks in this direction too. But at least we've found one, and it's only taken me 20 minutes so far. Finally, mushroom fields. 30,000 blocks. What in the world is that? It's called Among Us. Oh, yeah, I see it. I see the reference. I see the reference. What do you drop? Do you drop stuff? No, apparently not. Let's kill a few more just to make sure. Nope, they don't seem to drop much of anything. Very sus. And these mushrooms look weird. What's going on here? Oh, they're mushroom colonies. Nice. And what is that? That looks terrifying. Like a mushroom bunny rabbit. Part of me wants to see if he drops anything, but part of me thinks he's too cool to kill. He just drops mushrooms. And what are they doing? Okay, these things are just weird. Anyway, I didn't travel 30,000 blocks just to get weirded out by these creatures. We need some of this. Probably should have fixed my shovel before I came, but whatever. We'll just grab a bunch. We don't need loads. And it would help if I had space to actually pick it up. Right, well, I've got a few stacks. I'd call that a very long but eventually successful mission. And I guess it must be nice for you guys to know you're not the weirdest thing on these islands anymore. But I need to travel 30,000 blocks back home, so back into the nether, I guess. Good news, I've finally made it back. Bad news, I now need to collect 17 pages of resources.
How long will that take? Days, weeks, months, who knows?
Well, I really should have sped up the schematic cannon for that. It's taken about an hour and a half. But the most annoying thing about it is I went up into the air to do a lovely time lapse and completely forgot to hit record. But on the plus side, we do have some buildings here now, but I've got a lot of work to do to fill in all these frames, but this should give you a very good idea of what we've got going on here. I've got 4 new buildings, completely different styles and textures and colours and things like that. But yes, currently I also have a lot of holes, so I'm going to run around and get all of these bits filled in, and then when I bring you back in, these buildings should be looking a little bit more solid. And then we've just got to get to work on the interior of them all. That's the first building all filled in and looking lovely. And by the way, this is why I needed the mycelium. I just think it makes the ground around the dumpsters look a little bit more manky, and that's exactly what I wanted. Plus, it allows me to plant mushrooms. But I've still got 3 more buildings to tidy up before we can crack on with the insides. Well, I'm not going to pretend that was a quick thing to do. That has taken me quite a while, but we do finally have all of the blocks inside the frame blocks, which means we have solid buildings. 4 of them. They're solid, but they're empty. Which means I need to figure out exactly what it is I want to put in each one of these buildings, and to be honest, I think this great big one on the end here is probably going to be the best place for us to store our wool, because I want to turn it into a clothes shop, but there's 16 different types of wool, and that means I'm going to need a lot of space. The next building along doesn't really look too much like a shop, and I think I'm going to be turning this one into a bed and breakfast. I think it'll be a nice thing to have. We'll have a nice little reception lobby down here, and then we'll put some rooms upstairs. I also really like this sunken bit we've got on this one here, but the issue with this is currently it just goes straight into a grass wall. I don't actually know if we'll do anything with that. This was more for the aesthetic from the outside, but we'll see what happens. And we've then got two other buildings. This one here I think is going to work quite nicely as a restaurant. We've got lots of space, we've got a great big window, and just a little bit of space upstairs. I'm missing a block there apparently. There we go. And for this last building on the end, I have absolutely no idea. I've not made any decisions on that one yet. And to be honest, I've also not decided what kind of restaurant this is going to be yet, but there are a lot of sort of pasta-related dishes, so I do wonder if a small Italian restaurant would work quite well here. But let's not go getting ahead of ourselves. I think I want to make a start on this one first, which, as I say, is going to be our clothes shop, and upstairs is probably going to have a storage floor, or maybe even a two-story clothes shop, I don't know, but potentially on the very top floor, we can actually just stick in another apartment. But just the addition of these extra buildings really does help to tie this area together, and I think it's going to look awesome, although I do need to get some street lights over here. Now I guess the question is, how are we going to make this clothes shop? I think I should probably get the floors in first. That's going to help, because once I've got the stairs in for going up onto the second floor of the shop, it should actually help us out down the bottom here. Basically, it's going to let us know how much space we've got. This much. This is how much space we've got. And we've also got lots of space upstairs. Slightly less than downstairs, but it should work quite nicely. I've also made myself a new backpack, which I've jammed full of all the things I should need to be able to make some clothes. So now I just need to actually make the clothes shop. So we're probably going to start with some cabinets down the bottom here. We're going to hang some things on the walls, and I think I'm going to use these straw statues here as mannequins. And I've been typing random words in, and I've actually found a couple of skins which I think should work quite well. If we use this one, for example, someone called Blank, but we actually turn everything off, we end up with something that looks quite mannequin-y. I don't think that's a word, but we do have something that looks a bit like a mannequin. We can, of course, then put clothes on that, just like so. And I also found another one if I type in grey, which is, well, it's just a grey dude. But I think these two should work well as mannequins. I've also got loads of wool with me as well, of course, so I do need to actually have somewhere to store all of it. But I'm thinking we could also make some banners, hang some stuff down, and just generally get lots of sort of clothy-looking things hanging up. But beyond that, I don't have much of a plan, so I'm just going to start placing all the things that I think we're going to need, and I'll bring you back in when hopefully we've got a lovely looking interior. Oh my days, making custom armor takes forever! But we do have a clothes shop, and I think it's looking pretty good. We could do with a sign outside, but we'll get to that in a moment. But on the inside here, I've basically got all the wool on either side, so we've got storage for all of those things. These bits at the front here are just for display, and I really do think that these sort of mannequin armor stands have worked out really well. I've also added a changing room at the back here, so that should work nicely. And of course, we've got the till and sort of payment area on this side. I've also added in an upstairs, so if we go up here, there's a whole lot more straw statues, there's more armor, and I really do like the way these sort of little piles of clothes have come out. I've basically just used frame blocks and copycat panels to get some varying heights, but I think it works. But that's just one out of the 4 shops I want to try and get done today, so I should probably crack on. And in fact, I'm going to see if I can find a nice sign first, which means I need to go do a Google image search and see if I can find anything appropriate. Well, it turns out trying to find a vintage clothes shop sign that doesn't actually say vintage clothes on it is very, very difficult. But I did find this sign here, which I think works quite well. It's more of an explorer's adventurer's kind of clothes shop, but I think that works fine. I mean, it is all armor after all. I also found this giant milk sign, which I think works well as a billboard on the side of that building, just to give it a little bit of colour on that side. But with that shop done, I think it's time we move on to the next one, and this one here, we're going to turn it into a bed and breakfast. So I guess we're going to want a reception counter of some sort, some stairs going up, of course, and maybe even like a small sort of lounge slash, well, breakfast area, I guess. I mean, if it is a bed and breakfast, it's definitely going to need that, right? And then we'll probably just be able to get a couple of rooms in upstairs. And I still haven't decided what I'm going to do with the bottom here, if anything, but I don't know, maybe it'll make quite a nice little pokey bookshop. Who knows? But I guess if I just start slamming down some blocks, we'll see what comes together. An hour or so later, and I think I'm done with this interior as well. We now have a B&B, so we have this lovely little entrance hall here. It's very cramped because I didn't actually leave enough space when I was building the lounge, but I think it works. Just got a couple of small details here. We've got a cuckoo clock at the top, and of course, a peculiar bell. I don't know why it's so peculiar, but it looked cool. Then we've got a corridor here that goes upstairs, which we'll check out in a minute, but we've also got this lounge, and I did go out hunting a few bison so we can make ourselves a lovely bison rug. I think it's quite nice to have something that's just a little bit thicker than the normal carpets, as well as a few other small details, generally just bookshelves, lamps, flower pots, and a couple of paintings, of course. I do quite like these little sort of lanterns that we can do with the frame blocks. I think they work out well. Then if we follow this upstairs, we have a hallway here just with a great big painting. It kind of reminds me of that thing from Ghostbusters. You know the one. But then we've also got a couple of small rooms. So this is the pink room. I think this one looks pretty awesome. These paper lanterns give it a nice touch, and I've actually used loads of smithing tables on the ceiling just because I really like the texture that's on the bottom of those. And then on the other side, it's exactly the same layout, just kind of flipped, and it's got a green theme. So we have a cactus in a pot, we've got a green frame and a green picture, and yeah, I think it just works really well. I like it. What a lovely B&B. And down here, as you can see, I did decide to make a bookstore, although once again, I did struggle to find a sign. I mean, I should probably be making my own signs, but I don't have time for that, so yeah, Google is serving me well. Naughty Beardy. But this little bookshop is just a very, very simple, pokey bookshop. There's not too much going on, really, just books. Lots and lots of books. So I've used lecterns, we've got a couple of those little lanterns going about just to give it some light, and then we've got a counter at this side. But yeah, that's basically it. Nice and simple, but I think it's much better than having that door open onto a wall of grass. But that's 2 out of 4 buildings done. Now it's time to actually do some create, and we're, what, 20 minutes into this create video, and I've done nothing to do with create yet, so yeah, we're going to make a lovely restaurant down here. We're going to cook some pasta dishes upstairs, have seating and stuff downstairs. It's going to be wonderful. But the first thing I need to do is actually get a second floor in. And something just like that should do nicely. But I think I also want to separate off this bit here, which means I need to go get myself a little bit more of the blue terracotta and the light blue terracotta. And then we'll just have a small doorway here to get upstairs. And then the entire downstairs here can be the actual restaurant area. Well, we've done a lot of interiors today without much create, so I think we're actually going to go upstairs and build all the create things first. And we've got plenty of space up here to be able to do that. I can even remove some of these walls if needs be, although currently I'm doing this just because this blue strip is... okay, it's going to have to stay at the back, but we don't really need it on the sides because this is touching other buildings. But at least that means we can get the side walls here matching everything else. So I think we're going to do the same thing we normally do. I've cracked out myself a clipboard, and we're just going to have a little look at the Farmer's Delight recipes and make ourselves a list of the meals I want to serve up in here. Although, just at a quick glance, I think we've only got pasta with meatballs, pasta with mutton chop, and ratatouille, which is actually French, not Italian, but it's fine. I think that'll fit nicely in here as well. But I do still need to make a list of all the different things that we're going to need. So, I guess it's going to be flour to dough. We're going to need tomato sauce, minced beef, and mutton chops. At least these are the things we're going to need to process. I think the rest of it we can literally just dump straight in the bowl, right? Although this does have an extra step to get made into pasta. The ratatouille is just a whole bunch of veg cooked in a pot. I mean, we could also mix it, but, well, we've got the mod that allows us to actually cook it in a pot by using a blaze burner that we don't have to heat, so that'll actually be a bit easier. Same with the pasta and mutton chops. So hopefully this should be fairly straightforward. Let's go grab some bits and bobs to get myself prepared. And to get myself prepared, rumour has it, Stam has been working on a factory which I'm about to find very, very useful. So let's head over to Stam's house. Now, I've just got to see if I can find the right factory. Oh my days, that's a new building. Is this the one? Look at this thing. Oh, this is amazing. Then we have a little poke in the windows. Yep, this certainly looks like the building I'm looking for. The question is, where does everything get stored? It looks like it might actually be going out that way. Is this the bit I'm looking for? It is! Oh, amazing. Look at this. The Stam has basically built a factory that makes all the create items, and this is incredible. Exactly what I need. But, yeah, it hasn't got values showing on there at the moment, so I'm just going to see if I can find his little container bits. Where is the center of this storage system? Oh, my days, this looks so complicated. Aha, this looks like it, and if we click that, there we go. Now we can get numbers on everything that's in here. And I assume that's going to be connected to this one here as well. Yep, look at that. Wonderful. So I'm just going to grab myself a few bits and bobs that I know we're going to need from here. We might need a few weighted ejectors, so we'll take them too. We'll take a stack of those. Don't think we're going to need any crushing wheels or anything like that. We shouldn't need any fans. We'll take some slicers. We're definitely going to need those. And it looks like all the shafts are being used up at the moment, but no worries. We can make those easily enough. But yeah, this is absolutely awesome. One thing I never got round to doing. Good job, Stam. And that building is absolutely incredible. Let's just hope that he puts out his episode on this before this episode goes out. Otherwise, yeah, hashtag spoilers. That could get me in trouble. Now, I guess the first thing I should do is actually make the pasta. First thing I should do is probably get some power in here. And I have actually already connected up the storage drawers here to the system, so it connects to the same one that the other shops use, which means we can grab the dough directly from the sandwich shop because we're already making it over there. But yeah, we do need to chop it up into pasta. But power, that's what we need first. And we can just steal that from over here. Although we can't go up through that bit of floor there because that's going to cause us a little bit of bother. So maybe what we should do is just get it embedded in the wall down here, and then we can sort of grab it and move it where we need it. And I think that's where the encased drives are going to come in very handy here. We'll just bring that down to there, stick in a couple of vertical gearboxes. There we go, job done, power. Now the first thing we want to be doing is grabbing dough and having that go onto this belt here, which is going to be a slicer. I should probably go get myself a bit of dough just so we can set the filters. Look at that, loads of dough. We want the dough to come out of that one. Obviously it's facing the wrong way at the moment, but that's mainly just to save many problems. In fact, I'm going to break the connection altogether for now, just so I can set this up properly, because that does of course need to be going that way, but we want to make sure we're only taking out one at a time. Then we'll stick a knife in there, and I need to get power to this thing now, so I guess the easiest way to do that is probably going to be down the bottom here. In fact, I don't think we need this bit. We probably don't need to feed all the pasta back into the system. I think we can probably just take it from here and have it go straight into the cooking pots where it's needed. So yeah, that's going to make the power a little bit tidier around the back here as well. There we go, and that is going in the correct direction. That's always a good thing. Make that belt a little bit shorter though, and just have it so once it gets chopped, it goes onto the depot. What I'm going to do is stick a chef right there, another one there, and in fact, maybe we should just do all the chefs in a line there. I wonder if that's going to work or not. We'll figure out space properly in a moment. And we need to give each one of these a cooking pot on top. And then I need to set up the cooking guides here. So tomato, onion, beetroot, and carrot. That's going to be our ratatouille recipe. So we'll give that to you. We're going to need minced beef, pasta, and tomato sauce to make the pasta with meatballs. And a very similar recipe is needed for the pasta with mutton chops. So you can go in there. But that's not going to solve all of our problems because we also need to do a couple of other things here, which basically means I'm actually going to need to change this setup here just a little bit. So if we remove these three here, get some more shafts in, and a couple more belts, because we do actually need to chop 3 different things. And I reckon if we were to do it like that, we can actually get them all spinning the right way just by chucking a cog in the middle there. Do I have any? Yes, I do. There we go. So they should all be spinning the right way. And I can already tell we're going to be moving these, but that's fine. We'll leave them where they are for now. Let's get a couple more knives on these slicers. And yep, they're definitely all going the right way. Put these funnels back on, and we'll apply some more filters. Make sure they're all set to 1. So that's going to give us mutton chops, minced beef, and pasta. Perfect. However, I do still need to make some tomato sauce. And I think I'm going to use this guy over here for that. So maybe what we can do is if we set that to that and put him there, stick a funnel on, set this to 1, and set this to... Oh, actually, no, I think we need 2 at a time for tomato sauce. I'll check that in a moment. Let's grab a tomato, set that filter. We'll swap out his recipe for tomato sauce instead of ratatouille, and we'll just stash the ratatouille one for now, I guess. Although, what's happened there? Why have I suddenly got 2 of these? Pasta with meatballs, pasta with mutton chop, tomato sauce, but it hasn't actually taken the recipe thing away from me this time. Oh, guess that's bugged. But the important thing is he does want to make tomato sauce. Now, to get the tomato sauce out of there, what we're going to need is some bowls. And in fact, all of these recipes are actually going to need bowls. What I could potentially do is just have a belt that runs along the front here that takes out bowls. I guess the first thing I should test is if I chuck a bowl on here, is it going to get pulled into the cooking pots? Looks like it will. Excellent. So that will do for getting bowls into those. Now I need to set up the mechanical arms. So this first meal here, for example, is pasta with meatballs. So if he was to take items from there, and there. Although every time I set that, it kind of opens it, so I can't actually... Okay, that could be a problem. So I guess what I need to test now is if I put a tomato sauce filter on there and then that cooks up, will it deposit tomato sauce here? Only one way to find out. Let's get ourselves some tomatoes. Probably should have done a bit more testing before I started building this, but where's the fun in that? That's making tomato sauce. And yep, okay, cool. So that is going to work. Which means we're also going to want depots there. We're going to want exits for these 2 things as well. So we want to deposit items into that cooking pot there, but we want to take them from there for the pasta, there for the beef, And there for the tomato. And let's stick you on there. Then for this one here, once again, we want to deposit items into there. We want tomato, we want mutton chops, and we want pasta again. This is starting to look like a convoluted mess, but it should do the job. So we've got all of those ingredients coming out and getting processed. We've got the tomato sauce being made. We've got bowls connected. I think that's everything we need for now. So if I just reconnect this up, hopefully we're going to start getting the first couple of meals. So we've got pasta and meatballs there. We've got pasta with mutton chops there. And this thing should start getting some bowls in just a moment. And then that should give us some more tomato sauce. Excellent. Ah, okay, that's a problem. And to be honest, I think I'm going to need to change up the tomato sauce one just a little bit. So let's quickly disconnect this again. Because what's happening is this thing is firing too many tomatoes over here and they're not getting separated properly. So I think we're going to be best off using an arm again. So if we set the weighted ejector to go to that depot instead of directly into the pot, and we'll put that there, then we'll take the tomatoes from there, we'll deposit them into the cooking pot, and we'll get you to do that, buddy, which requires one more cog there. Now let's try that again. Why is this not depositing tomatoes? I mean, we've got plenty here. It's because I had the stack size set wrong, I think. There we go. All right, now we're getting the tomatoes. And I guess my next question is, what's happening to the bowls from the tomato sauce? Are they just sort of disappearing? I don't think they are. I think the bowls from the tomato sauce are actually being used to plate up the things, which is good. That's good. Everything's sort of being recycled, which means all these bowls should pretty much always go into the tomato one. Progress. Excellent. Now we're making our first 2 meals. What I need to do is send these back into the system. So if I put a drawer controller slave there, a belt going that way, then I want an arm to take items from there and deposit them onto there. There we go. Okay, we just got to create somewhere for these things to be stored now. I think we'll just store the food on this back wall here for now. We can always move that around a little bit later. And then if we just put I guess we just need an andesite funnel on this one, don't we? Put that on there. And there we go. So that should start making all of our food. Look at that. Lots and lots of food. Well, I'm pretty pleased with how that's come out so far. Let's just make it look a little bit nicer up here. So I was also going to make ratatouille up here, but to be honest with you, I don't think we've really got the space for it because we're going to need, we're going to need 4 depots just to be able to get all the veg out, and we haven't got space for that. It's a bit cramped up here, and that tiny bit of space at the back there isn't going to be particularly useful for that. So I guess that's where we're going to be leaving it for food for this restaurant. Let's just remove that box. We're not going to need the 3rd one. But that's more food automated. Now all I need to do is actually build the restaurant down here. And how do I want to go about that? So I've just discovered if you use framed pots and put glass on them, they look like little mugs of Coke. I like that. But more importantly, the interior of the restaurant is now looking pretty good. We've even got one of those little lecterns so people can check your booking and seat you down and so on. It's a slightly more upper class restaurant, this one. We've got some more of those awesome little hanging lights. We've got pictures on the walls. We've got seating. We've got tables. And overall, I'm very pleased with how this has come out. It's looking pretty good. And on the outside, this is what happens when I make my own sign. And now you can probably see why I've been using Google Images. But I think that's Italian for restaurant, and it works quite well. And that gives us one more completed building, which I'm very pleased with. We have made some huge progress today, but sadly, I don't think I'm actually going to have enough time to do another building, otherwise you're not going to get this video in time. This has taken forever. I've spent nearly all week doing this, but I think it's really been worth it. It looks absolutely amazing, but yeah, we do still have an empty building on the end here, and I've had a few ideas of what we could potentially do with this building. I really want to know what you guys think. But it is quite a small building, this one. It could be a bakery or a sweet shop or fish and chip shop. Not that we can actually make chips. But I'm really interested to see what you think we should do with that one. And in between episodes, I'm going to try and work out what to do with the rest of this area. Because I do want to get a few more buildings in, of course. But I also want to get potentially like a big park, something like that. So I am probably going to spend a bit of time planning between episodes, maybe even get a couple more empty buildings up, just so next episode we can smash through and get this town finished. But yeah, still a lot of work to do. And I don't mention it often, but I have realized that almost 60% of you that watch these videos are not actually subscribed. So if you've made it this far and you've enjoyed what you've seen, please do consider subscribing, as it really does help the channel out. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye now.